Shalom, brothers and sisters. It's your brother Yahweh Sabah. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Peace, salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad across the four corners of the earth, learning or teaching His gospel in truth and sincerity. Shalom. Today I want to go over how to beware of false prophets. Because we know that in these last days we got to watch out for these false prophets. So let's get that. Let's start with that. Matthew chapter 7. Verse 15. This is Yahweh Shai, red letter. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are raving wolves. So Yahweh Shai is telling you to beware of false prophets, because in these last days there's many false prophets that are arising, and if you got to have that wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and discernment to be able to know who's a false and a true prophet. That the ones that are following Yahweh Shai's red letter, and the ones that are going by the true doctrine, the foundation. Yahweh Shai, the chief cornerstone, he set the standard for the church through the apostles. And this is also known as the apostles' doctrine, because his foundation was set through Yahweh Shai, given to Peter. I was set as well when Yahweh Shai said, "I will set this upon the rock," and then that's the foundation, the chief cornerstone. Because this wasn't given to flesh and blood. This is all spiritual. Now, get that. Get that 24. Luke 24. Verse Matthew 24:11. And many false prophets shall arise and deceive many. And that's what's going on in these last days. A lot of people are being deceived. We'll go down to 24. For there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the elect. If it were possible, because we know the elect aren't going to be deceived. You can't deceive the elect. Because the elect is going to be the 144,000 that are joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, and that's all predestined. They are not going to be deceived, and that's why we have to watch out for false Hamashiachs and false prophets, because there's a lot of false Hamashiachs in these last days too, who are saying they're the Hamashiach, but we would see him we would see that Hamashiach through the chariots, and his elect would be known if Hamashiach was here. So, and let's get that. Because all these other Israelite camps, like IUIC, ISUCPK, Salakia, GOCC, even GMS, they're not following the red letter in Yahweh Shai, the true foundation. That's why we have to watch out for this. And this all goes back to their elder Abba, that One West doctrine. So you got to have understanding and discernment to know the difference between them. This one, let's get that Jeremiah. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, and verse 14. And Yahweh said unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my names. I sent them not, neither have I commanded them, neither spake unto them. They prophesy unto you a false vision and divination, and the thing of naught, and the deceit of their heart. So it's the deceit of their heart, and it's all deceitfulness. We know that when it's talking about the heart, it's talking about the mind, and it's all deceit, and they're prophesying lies in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's name. So that this is what we don't want to follow, because they're giving you false visions and divination, and they're gonna lead you on the path to destruction. Verse 15, therefore saith Yahweh concerning the prophets that prophesy in my name, I sent them not, yet they say sword and famine shall not be in this land. By sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed. And that's what we see with these pastors. They're telling you that nothing's in these last days, that there's going to be no Jacob's trouble. There's going to be no sword or famine. And then by sword and famine, those prophets are going to be consumed. Because we know in these last days that martial law and that famine's coming. and that destruction's coming. So that they're going to be consumed by this for prophesying these false lies. And we all know that's why at the end of the day, they do this for the filthy lucre's sake. They're taking that 501c3. And these other camps too, they do it for the covetousness sake as well. Let's get that 2 Peter. 2 Peter chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. But there were false prophets among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. So Khan, this is what we see in these last days, that Peter knew that this was going to happen, and this has to happen. This is part of the gospel, like the brother Hawiyala brought out in his lesson, that there's going to be in 1 Corinthians 11, 18, and 19. This is all part of the gospel, to see who in the body are approved, because a lot of people are going to bring in these false heresies, these damnable heresies, Salakia, and they're denying the Lord that brought them, Yahweh Shem Yahushua brought you into this, and you're going to deny him by doing this, and this is going to bring upon you your destruction. And we know what a heresy is. It's let me get into that. Just watch it, y'all. Right as all, you watch Brother Hawiyala's video on it as well, and it's a body of men following their own sects, and it shows the sects, and then dissensions arising from diversity of opinions and aims, and that's what it is too, as well. It's a division arising. This is division, because off their opinions and aims, it's not facts. And when you look at the heretics in Titus chapter 3, it tells you that this is someone that is following false doctrine. So it's all false doctrine when you're bringing in these heretics. Right, it's all. You watch Hawiyala's video on it. I'm not gonna go into it. He already went into it. I'm going into false prophets, and that's part of it. That's why I had to go into it as well. And Khan, and they privily shall bring it in. They're gonna do it privily, Salakia. They're not gonna be out there and speaking bold on it on the block and everything, and like talking to all the brothers in the congregation on it on the Telegram call, like how the brother said as well. So Khan. But yeah, let me continue on. Verse 2, and they shall follow their pernicious ways, and by the reason of whom the way of the truth shall be evil be spoken. So this is evil is going to be spoken right in this is what you see, and people are going to follow these evil teachings, and it's going to, Mashiach's name is going to be slandered. That's what that's getting into. Verse 3, and through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. So Khan, like let me get that in the NLT, verse 3. In their greed they will make up clever lies to get hold of your money, but God condemned them long ago, and their destruction is on the way. So yeah, that's all with these other camps as well. They care about getting your money. That's why you see these other camps charging so much for clothing, and promoting it. And some even promote it while they're on the block teaching, and they charge for breakdowns, and it's all covetousness, like that. Like I said, like the love of money. They got the love for money. It's the roots of all evil, and this has them to err from the faith, and they're pierced with many sorrows. Con, let's get this Jeremiah 6 and 13 to back this up. It's the book of Jeremiah 6. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 6, and verse 13. For from the least of them unto the greatest of them, even one is given to covetousness, and from the prophet even unto the priest, everyone dealeth falsely. So yeah, this is how it's saying, like they're tricking others to get what they want, because it doesn't belong to them. And yeah, yeah, even the prophets and the priests do this. They deal it falsely. So we know that there's prophets out there that are false prophets and are getting you for money. Even priests, the pastors, you know. So Khan, let's just get another one on this. We look at Micah chapter 3, verse 11. So, look at Micah chapter 3, verse 11. The heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests thereof teach for hire, and the prophets thereof divine for money. Yet will they lean upon Yahweh and say, Is not Yahweh among us, and none evil can come upon us? Khan, like that's what it's showing right there. Another precept upon precept on this that you know, like let me get that in the NLT. This is Micah 3 verse 11. Your rulers govern for bribes. Salaki, your rulers govern for the bribes you can get. For you priests teach God's laws only for a price. You prophets won't prophesy unless you are paid. Yet all of you claim you are depending on Yahweh. No harm can come to us, you say, for Yahweh is here among us. Khan. So they're doing this for a price, you know? That's what these pastors do. They're passing out that basket, getting that money. And you see it for the prophets too. They're always promoting their clothing or charging for a breakdown, so they're trying to get that money as well. So they got the love for money. Yeah, you gotta watch out for that. Come on. Yeah, we got these last days. You gotta watch out for these people that are trying to get you for your money. This 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 2. Feed the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Yeah, because you want to do this for not for the filthy lucre's sake. You want to do this in truth and sincerity. You want to care for the flock, you know, as the Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai cares for us. You know, we want to do this willingly, not for what we're gonna get out of it, you know. Because we got to be eager to serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai in truth and sincerity. You know, because like our mind is ready to eat the meat because we graduated from the milk. So that's why, you know, this is why we're doing this for in truth and sincerity. And we're trying to learn to the best of our ability. We're trying to grow, you know. Con. Let me get that First John. 1 John chapter 4 and verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirit, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone into the world. And yeah, that's why John said this. You know, look, it says right there, testing the spirits. You got to test the spirit to know if they're a false prophet or not. You got to try the spirit, you know, because that's how you know who's a false prophet or not. You know who's doing this in truth and sincerity, and you know who's doing it not in truth and sincerity. You know, let's get that for 1 Timothy. First Timothy. We'll start at verse 1. This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth the good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, and of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetousness. And that's what we got to be in these last days. We got to be not doing this for evil sakes, you know, like not for the money of roots all evil. We don't want to do this for greed or the filthy lucre. We got to be patient and not a brawler and not covetousness. That's why we don't drink excessive wine, you know, as well as it's stated. We got to be sober and vigilant, you know, good behavior, given to hospitality, and apt to teach, you know. Con. Let me get that first Peter 3. This is First Peter. First Peter chapter 3, verse 16. So let's get that right here. This is First Peter chapter 3 and verse 16. Having a good conscience, that whereas they speak evil of you as of evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse your good conversation in a Mashiach. Salakia. Yeah. I meant to get a Second Peter, but yeah, this is going with having a good conscience, that they speak evil of you, but because you're speaking good in a Mashiach, like that's why you always want to be gentle and respectful, and you keep a clear conscience, because when these people speak evil of you, they're gonna be ashamed when they see how good we're doing because we belong to a Mashiach, because we're in good conversation in a Mashiach. So, yeah. This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 16. As also in the epistle, speaking them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable wrest, as they do also the other scriptures unto their own destruction. So, that's what we see in these last days, that a lot of people are twisting the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and you're adding to the word, and we know that plagues shall be upon you if you're adding to the word as well, because you're twisting the scriptures. We know that rest, it's talking about wrestle, man. That means to twist, like, and let me get it in the NLT. Speaking of these things in all of his letters, some of his comments are hard to understand, and those who are ignorant and unstable have twisted his letters around to mean something quite different from what he meant, just as they do the other parts of the scripture, and the result is disaster for them. So that's disaster for them to twist the letters, to twist his letters to mean something different from what it truly meant. And you're twisting the scriptures just to lead people to the path of destruction. And that's why we have to watch out for these people in these last days. And you're being ignorant, and if you're ignorant, you're in darkness. So, like, we don't want to be like that in these last days. Because that's all bad. Let me get that, the 1 Timothy 4. So now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. And yeah, that's what we see in these last days, that a lot of people are departing from the faith, and they're going to these seducing spirits. They're giving heed to them, and doctrines of devils. They're following these seducing spirits. They're giving heed to them, these seducing spirits, and they're following doctrines of devils, and that's going to lead you to the path of destruction. And they're speaking lies and hypocrisy, and that's what we see. That's what twisting the scriptures. You're speaking lies. Like, I showed examples in the other precepts how these people are telling lies just to get some money as well, speaking lies, and they're having their conscience seared with a hot iron. Because their conscience is seared with a hot iron, that means their conscience is not gonna. It's not gonna change. They don't have a clear conscience like how we do, like how I brought out in that 1 Peter 3:16, and their conscience is seared with a hot iron. It's going to stay unclean. unclear. They don't have a clear conscience, you know. It's seared, so it's not going to change. Even if you tell them so many times, bring out all these good precepts that are true, and they're not going to understand it. They're not going to follow it. Con. So, con, yeah, let's get that. Let's get that 2 Timothy. So this is a 2 Timothy, chapter 4. I'm gonna start at verse 2. Preach the word, be preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. And that's what we're doing. We're exposing you to stay away from these false doctrines that are not stained in the red letter, like the water baptism in the name of Yahweh Shai, the principles, through Hebrews 6. All these, the true foundation of Yahweh Shai, like how I stated. This is the way. That's why he set this foundation for his apostles to pave it to us, to his disciples, so we know what's the true way of eternal salvation through Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Radazah, we have that number. And we exhort with all long suffering and doctrine, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust they shall heap to themselves teachers and having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and be turned unto fables. And that's what we see in these last days. A lot of people are being turned unto fables, and those are lies, man, myths. You're turning yourself into these false myths, man, these lies. And like, listen, we can even show you what the fable means. It says, yep, fiction. It even says mythos because it's a myth, an invention, falsehood. It's all false. Just like in fiction, a fable. In school days in the library, fiction, that means it's false. It's not true. It was made up. That's what they're turning onto these made up doctrines, turning their ears away from the truth. And having an itchy ear, like someone telling you could smoke weed in the congregation. That's that's an itchy ear doctrine. Telling somebody that they could be with a prostitute, and that's an itchy ear doctrine. It's the flat earth, itchy ear doctrine. Turning on to fables, con. And a lot of people are not going to endure sound doctrine. Like that's what this was getting into. That's what from the jump. That's why Paul said this. Because a lot of people are not going to endure sound doctrine, and they're gonna be turned into fables, like I was saying. They're gonna follow their own desires, and follow teachers who will tell them whatever they want to hear. That's what that itchy ear is getting into. And you're following out to your own lust. That's your desire. Let's get that. I want to get that 2 Corinthians 11. Start at verse 13. For such as 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 13, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into apostles of Hamashiach. So they're transforming themselves into apostles of Hamashiach. And this is verse 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. So, we see right there that they transform. They're disguising themselves as apostles of Hamashiach. So don't be fooled at this, because even Paul was saying he's not surprised, marvel not, because Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So his servants do this also. His servants do this also, and that's why we got to watch out for these type of people, because they're pretending to be the righteous people, but like godly ministers, but not they're not, and they're gonna get their punishment through their works. That's their wickedness. Because they're not ministers of righteousness, man. They're unrighteous. They're trying to deceive you. Con. Yeah, let's get that. I want to get that Romans 16. It's the book of Romans, chapter 16, in verse 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause division and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. For they that are such serve not our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, but their own belly by good words and fair speeches, and deceive the hearts of the simple. So yeah, like I said, that heart is the mind, man. So they're deceiving the minds of the simple. They're deceiving the simple-minded by giving them good words and fair speeches, that itchy sound doctrine, like I explained. They're telling you, oh yeah, everyone's gonna get saved. Everybody's gonna make it into the kingdom. You could smoke weed. You could commit idolatry. We forgive you, But no, those are sins, man. And you gotta repent, and repentance. That means not going back to those sins. So that's why we got to stay away from those from these type of people like Joel Osteen and all these other pastors who bring in these false doctrines, and even other camps do it too as well. Like saying that you could jack off and stuff as well, but you can't, man. It's a sin. Masturbation is a sin. Y'all Radazal get a lesson on that too in the future. But yeah, you gotta Paul's telling you to avoid these people, which cause division and offenses contrary to the doctrine, and divisions, man. They're bringing in them heresies, man, and you gotta avoid them, man, because they don't serve Yahushua and Mashiach but their own belly, and that that belly means their own desires. These people are like it's stated in the previous precept, man. They're going after that lust, man. Their desires, man. You gotta watch out for these type of people. And yeah, I wanted to get this too as well in the book of Acts. Salakia, bear with me. It's the book of Acts. The book of Acts, chapter 20, and start at verse 29. For I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flock. Also of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things, and draw away disciples after them. So come, we seen that this is what was going on, and that's what Paul was telling them, to watch out for these grievous wolves that enter among you, not sparing the flock, because they're not going to spare the flock. That's why Yahushua said, watch out for false prophets, because they come as, Salakia, they come in as sheep, but they're raving wolves. And that's why Paul said this, because they're not sparing the flock, and they're going to draw away disciples by speaking perverse things. Yeah, that's why we got to watch out for these false prophets in these last days, because it's waxing worse and worse in these last days. So let's get that Galatians. Salakia, bear with me. It's Galatians chapter 1. As we said before, now I say again, if any... Salakia, let me get at verse 8. 7. I started verse 6. I marvel that you are soon removed from him that call you into the grace of Mashiach unto another gospel, which is not another, but there be some that trouble you, and would pervert the gospel of a Mashiach. But though we, or an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel unto you, that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. As we said before, so now Slakia, so say I now again, if any man preach another gospel unto you that ye have received, let him be accursed. So Paul said this twice. If you preach any other gospel, let him be accursed. For do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of a Mashiach. And that's the thing. We don't serve men. We serve Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. We don't seek to please men. We ain't gonna bow down to men. Like, come on. You already know the scriptures show us examples of our forefathers that they never bowed down to men. They serve Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Mordecai, he didn't bow down to the man. Come on. Like, let's get this as well. In the book of Hebrews. And then I'm going to wrap this up. Yahweh Razal is edifying. This is the book of Hebrews. Let me find that. Hebrews chapter 13. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 13. And I'm going to go to, let's get 5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he had said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee, so that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. And we don't fear what men can do unto us. We seek Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. We don't fear a man, because Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shem Shai, he's the one that's our refuge and our helper, man. And we're not afraid of men. And in that verse 5, it says, it's like, let me get that in the NLT. It says, stay away from the love of money. Be satisfied with what you have. For God has said, for God has said, I will never fail you. I will never forsake you. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai will never fail you and never forsake you. That's why you don't have to have the love for money. And a lot of these false prophets and pastors, they got the love for money because they're trying to get this money off of you. They're trying to do this to you. They're trying to deceive you and have you pay for a breakdown, have you buy clothes off them, and they got ads too, Come on. Let's go down to verse 9. Be not carried with diverse and strange doctrines, for it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with meats, which have profited them that have been occupied therein. So, this is what that's getting into, don't follow these strange doctrines, because this is what it's all about. You don't want to follow those strange doctrines like flat earth and all these other things, because these things will not get you into the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. You got to hold fast on the true doctrine and rebuke and extort, like how I brought out in the last precept. Let your hearts, that your mind, let your mind be established with grace. Yahweh Radazal, this was edifying. And I'm gonna wrap this up. Bring up that Matthew 26:6. Now when Yahushua was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman had done be told for a memorial of her. And with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Peace, salutation to the hopeful elect scattered abroad across the four corners of the earth, learning or teaching this gospel with truth and sincerity. Shalom.